What does being positive look like? Honestly, I have no clue, but I could tell you what it feels like. My name is Shin, and welcome to my podcast, Positive and the Negative. So, when I first decided to do a podcast, I didn't know what to do it on. I didn't know if I wanted it to be on being a mom, going through the ups and downs of life, etc. Like, I had absolutely no clue. So, I decided not to bore y'all and just do as much as I could and try to speak on the positivity and the negative moments of life because, baby, I've had plenty. But one thing I do is I believe that there's always a positive in every negative. We may not always see it, but it's definitely there. Look, in the words of Langston Hughes, life for me ain't never been no crystal stair. And growing up, I had a rough childhood. I was adopted. I went through the ups and downs of adoption, and it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best at all. Um, my dad found me when I was 10, and he took custody of me at the age of 12, which was probably the positive experience in my life until I turned that into a negative. And I ran away to go live with my biological mom. So that was kind of like running back to the negativity. And one thing about my mom's side of the family is they are very dysfunctional. And with my father coming into my life, I was able to see what positivity and what function was. So that was kind of the blessing in disguise. But I guess you could say that I brought that on myself. But when I was 15, almost 16 at the time, of course, we don't have great decision making skills at that time. And, I was a teenager. I wanted my mom, the very thing that I didn't have my whole life. So needless to say, long story short, it was rough from that point on. You can call me Sophia from The Color Purple. All my life, I've had to fight. um, but in hindsight, in the midst of everything that I went through as a child, and even in my adult life, I realized that everything does happen for a reason, and I'm a firm believer. I stand on that. That everything happens for a reason. Nothing is by circumstance. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it and say that I've always seen the positive because the lie detector test would determine that that is a lie. So when you're going through your first rock bottom, and I say first rock bottom because when we hit that first low moment, we feel like that is our rock bottom. But in all actuality, in all reality, we have a lot more lows to hit if we don't play our cards right. But we have a lot more lows to hit to where we then actually begin to feel that we are at rock bottom. But you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel and you don't want to hear anything about being positive. In that moment, positivity isn't paying your bills or feeding you and your family. And trust me, I've had so many moments where people have come to me and they're like, "Oh, you just have to stay positive and things are going to change." Uh, no, it didn't work out like that. I tried to remain positive in a space where I saw everything being taken away from me day after day after day in a situation that I really had no control over. I had no control over it, but I tried the positivity thing. I tried the positivity thing, but even in the midst of the positivity that I thought that I was doing, I still kept seeing everything. Nothing was changing for the good. Nothing was changing for the good. But as I've continued on this journey, I've realized that positivity isn't an action, but it's rather a state of mind, a true state of mind. I take each day as it comes and I control the things I can. And when I say that, I don't mean just let the things I can't control go and put them off, but in a way, yeah, putting them off. I think a lot of times we get overwhelmed by the responsibilities that we have on a day to day basis. So instead of tackling things one at a time, we try to tackle them as a whole. But if we sit down and take things one by one, we do relieve a lot of pressure and stress from ourselves. So I like to go by this analogy. I like to go by the analogy of when you lose your your house keys or your car keys, right? So anytime if you've ever lost your house keys or you've lost your car keys, 9 times out of 10, it's a moment where you're trying to rush out of the house and you just can't remember where you put them. Or you put them in a place where you just wasn't paying attention. So, but what happens when we lose our house keys or our car keys? We turn the house upside down looking for these keys that we need so desperately bad, and we can't find them. So then this moment of frustration, aggravation, anger, you get frustrated at the fact that you cannot find this set of keys that you know in your mind you put in a specific space. But in all reality, we're looking everywhere else but that specific space that we put those keys, right? But if we take the time to calm down, to sit down and think, maybe sometimes retracing our steps, our keys are right there in front of us. We just looked everywhere else but in front of us. So now we've caused multiple problems on top of the fact that we couldn't find our keys and our keys were sitting right there in front of us. So now we've torn up the house. But I think I use that analogy because I think a lot of times we become so overwhelmed with everything that is thrown at us in life, and we just can't find those car keys. So we create problem after problem after problem trying to figure out the solution, when in all honesty the solution is right there in front of our face, just like those car keys. And I know it's easier said than done, but training your mind to only focus on what's the most important, it does help more than what we think. And it is a training of the mindset. And I say that because you can't just wake up and say, I'm going to be positive today and everything is going to change. No, that's not possible. It's not possible. I mean, prove me wrong. But in my opinion, in my experience, and I go off of my experience, y'all. I'm not a therapist. I don't have a degree in this. I have a degree in life. um, but I can't I can't sit here and act like you can wake up and then and have a great day and be positive. No, it's a mindset and it's a training of the mindset. You have to want, for one, you have to want to have a positive mindset. You have to want to have a positive mindset. And when I say training the mind, that takes meditation. It takes controlling your thoughts, controlling the things that come out of your mouth. It takes control. And that is something that is so hard to do for some. It may be easy for some, but for the most, it's hard to do because you also have to see past and see through certain things. You may feel like you're in the lowest of your low, but if you can't see past or through your situation, you're never going to be able to see this light at the end of the tunnel that you're trying to get to. So some of the things that do help me um, when it comes to that is meditation. That's one of the things. Listening to positive and inspiring shows, television shows, and music, and even the what's the word I'm looking for? The positive quotes. I can't think of the word right now, y'all. I'm just like off the top of my head. I'm bad with that. And also just having a grateful mindset, which is key, and surrounding myself with positive people. And as the saying goes, misery loves company. And unfortunately, one of the worst things you can do is trauma bond in your bad space. So you have to surround yourself with people who are going to understand your situation, but also won't allow you to live there. And I think that's key. I don't want someone that's going to pacify me in my moment. I want someone that's going to be there for me in my moment, but also tell me, girl, get up and do what you need to do in that moment and push me out of that bad space. And I will say that not everyone is looking for that. They want that person that's going to be there for them in that moment. But how many people actually want others to push them out of that space? And I say that because I've come across people in my life that, even though they say that they want someone to push them out of that space, when you do it, they don't like it. they become guarded. They put up a defense, and you can't get through to them. So then it's like you have to come to a decision. Okay, do I continue trying to push you? Do I enable you, or do I step back and just let you go through your go through? Because sometimes that's what we have to do. Sometimes we have to go through our go through, and I'm one of those people that I think that sometimes I just have to go through my go through, because if I don't go through it, then the lesson that I really need to learn, I'm not gonna learn it. And I know that sounds so oxymoronic, but it's that's me. That's my truth that I know about myself. People are gonna be there for you, but you want the people that's gonna encourage you. Now, don't get me wrong, they are important, but the key to it is you have to want to and want it. I don't know if you guys have heard the saying, you can't help someone unless they want to be heard. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure everyone has heard that. You can't help someone unless they want to be helped. So if you're trying to help someone that doesn't want to be helped, you're wasting your time. Your friends can't want it more than you, and you expect there to be a change. Trust me, I've been that person. And when you are that person, guess what that makes you? It makes you a victim. And having a victim mentality gets you absolutely nowhere. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Now, don't get me wrong. There are times that is one thing after the other in one day, and you're trying to remain positive through each experience. And the only thing you want to do is run away, crawl into a hole, and go into seclusion. That is me. That is me. I know the feeling all too well. And the reason why is it's a safe place. No one can hurt you there. No one can get to you in that place. And it's easier to go in that space and watch the storm go by until it's over. But the safest place to be is in the eye of a hurricane. However, that only lasts for a moment, and then the storm resumes. I do believe that everyone has their moment, but let it be just that, a moment. And once that moment is over, pick yourself up by the bootstraps and get to work. Whether that work is working on yourself internally, externally, mentally, physically, whatever it may be, just get it done. You can turn a negative into a positive just by changing your mindset. And a lot of times for me, turning the negative into a positive is by using the experiences that I've gone through as ammunition to push me to go above and beyond. One of the greatest things you could ever do for me is tell me no, because I use that no as my ammunition. I use that word no as my ammunition, and that pushes me. It pushes me to turn that no into a yes. Normally, it works. Normally it works. Now there are times that just because I'm always stuck in my head, y'all. I live in my head and I hate that. I hate it. Um it, there's times that I feel a little lost and I don't know what direction to go in. And I think that's a me problem. I don't think that's anyone else problem. I think that's a me problem. But that's where the meditation and the grounding come into play. I do enjoy grounding. And when I'm grounding, I like to meditate. I like to meditate in the shower. That's normally my prayer place. My prayer time is in the shower. It's nobody but me in the shower. Nobody's going to interrupt my shower time. And when I ground, I like to go for walks. I like to get out there in nature and just listen to my music, my positive, inspirational music. And for me, that's gospel. I like to get into that space because it reminds me of the positive. And there's so many reminders sometimes in nature that you need it in order to get out of that headspace. For instance, biblically, if you turn to the Bible, God takes care of the birds. If they don't have to worry about where their next meal is going to come from, why do I? Why do I? And I think a lot of times when it comes to grounding and meditation, the key focus is to get away from you, to get away from the thoughts of everything that's going wrong and look at the fact that there is so much more out here in this earth other than you, yourself. I know it sounds a little crazy. It may to some sound crazy and to others it may make sense. But I think unless you've actually been there, it it won't really make that much sense. Don't get me wrong. Meditating and grounding aren't things that just come naturally and overnight either. That takes practice as well. Um, I still don't fully understand them, but I do know that when I do go for my walks, I feel that my energy is, if I don't go for my walks, then my energy is a bit everywhere and I can't focus the way I want to. And I'm definitely more emotional. Oh my God, I'm so emotional. And that's how I know that I need to ground. I need to get my grounding under control because it helps to control my emotions. And I know you're probably like a woman. You could probably do that by yourself. All you got to do is check them. But when I tell y'all, if y'all have never grounded, try it. Try it. Um, it definitely helps me with controlling my emotions. And when I say controlling my emotions, why I like to do it to control my emotions is because I don't feel that I make erratic decisions if my emotions are under control. I can think more clear um, when my emotions are under control, and I'm more level headed. Now, I will say this is where it gets a little tricky. To the ladies, let's be honest, there's at least once a month where our emotions are not under control. And I am so guilty. As long as you're a woman and you have a what we call a cycle, there's gonna be times where our emotions are all over the place and we have to reel those in and get those in check because those are probably some of the worst emotions that we can have. Um, but knowing your body, knowing yourself helps with that. Um, and when it comes to the negative aspect, a lot of times we as women can, like I said, for me, I can speak for me, get in our thoughts. And because we are in our thoughts and we can turn a positive into a negative real quick. It's easier to turn a positive into a negative than it is a negative into a positive. Because once you get into that negative headspace, it's hard to come out of it. It's hard to come out of it. And y'all don't get me wrong, I've dealt with being in a negative headspace. I've dealt with being in a place where I've wanted to give up, but I just don't know what giving up looks like, y'all. I don't know what it looks like. Um, and I don't know if that consists of not breathing. I don't know. Like, what does it look like? What does it look like? Because what I do know is what I don't want, and I don't want to give up. I don't want to be in a place of lack of lack. I've been in that place so many times, plenty of times in my life, and and it sucks. It's not a good place to be. It's not a good place to be. But if we look past our situation, just to bring it back around to the topic, I kind of got a little off topic right there, but to bring it back, a lot of times we have to look past our circumstances. We have to look past what we see right in front of us. It's kind of like keep your eye on the prize. If we keep our eye on the prize, then anything that happens in between is small. It's small and we'll always see that light at the end of the tunnel. And I say that because a lot of times when your eye is on the prize, here comes all of these obstructions. And when I say obstructions, I mean it could be a bill, it could be anything. Anything that you feel would be detrimental to you getting to that light, getting to that prize. And we blow it up. We make it so big to where it covers the light at the end of the tunnel and then we no longer have a tunnel to even envision, to go towards. But the light is always there. The light is always there. We allow these obstructions to become bigger than what they are. And the next thing you know, we no longer see the light. And then we're wondering what happened. Why me? That's where the why me's come into place. Why me? And every vision that we had, every inspiration that we ever thought, every hope and dream that we had then becomes either null and void, obsolete, or just pushed to the side because we don't ever see ourselves getting to that point, getting to where we want to be, becoming that success, becoming better than what anyone ever told us we would be, becoming better than what we ever imagined we could be. And what I'm saying to you guys is only by my own experience. So yeah, these have been my thoughts. These have been my experiences, and to be honest, I'm going through it right now. But this is also a way to help me get through it. I enjoy talking. I enjoy talking, y'all. I'm a Leo. I'm a Leo, and if you know anything about Leos, we like to talk. Now, let's not focus on the negative aspects. We're talking about positivity here, so there are positive aspects of being a Leo. We get a really bad a really bad whatchamacallit. We get a bad Jesus, why can I not think of the word? It's not me, y'all. It's y'all. I'm playing. Um, but we're not the most liked. We get a bad rap. There we go. We get a bad rap as a Leo. And I think it's because we're a lot of times we're just misunderstood. We're just misunderstood. I'm a July Leo, so any August Leos, that's who y'all talking about. Not me, not July. But I can only speak by experience. I can, and that has always been my experience. And again, like I said, life for me ain't been no crystal stair, but life is what you make of it. And I feel like with life, you have two choices. You could either go left or go right, and each choice is what you make of it. So I enjoy you guys sitting here with me and listening. This is actually my first episode, and I wasn't as nervous as I thought it would be. But thank you guys for joining me. Until next time, I pray that you guys have a great day, and also focus on the positive, not the negative. Start trying to meditate. Start trying to be positive minded with everything that you do, regardless of how negative it may be. Try to find the positive, as small as that positive may be. When you find it, you sit on it and you dwell on it. And the same way that you can make a negative grow, you can also make a positive grow. Let's turn our positives into the biggest impact that we can. Y'all be blessed.